It's finally here. Mandalorian Season 3 has finally dropped something for us Star Wars fans, so let's get straight into it. But first, a word of warning. I am incredibly sick right now, so apologies if my voice sounds a little weird and if I've missed anything, as this brain fog is pretty heavy. Okay, enough said, breakdown time.
This is the one that you saved? You are as its father. A clan of two.
We begin the teaser with a whole series of grayed out scenes shot seen in Season 1 and Season 2 of The Mandalorian. There is also the voice of the armorer in the background reminding us of a few plot points. The scene finally reverts back to the original color and we see Mando's new ship on what looks to be a rather prosperous town. This is none other than the planet Navarro. It's pretty clear that since Season 1 of The Mandalorian, the planet has come a long way under the leadership of Greef Karga, the leader of the guild. In Season 2, we had seen some marked improvements and the development of a community, and now in Season 3, it is a prosperous, shiny town.
But you have removed your helmet. Then you are a Mandalorian no more.
We then see a ship flying through a storm. This in fact isn't Mando's ship, this is actually a gauntlet starfighter, but more on that later. We get a shot of Mando walking towards a massive crater with sharp edges reaching towards the sky. This planet is likely Mandalore, and these craters are reminders of the glassing of Mandalore, in which the Empire committed genocide against the Mandalorians during the Purge of Mandalore, something which we previously saw hints of in Season 2. In the next shot, we get Mando and Grogu walking through what looks to be a cave. This is likely our first look at the mines of Mandalore. In the previous season, after the armorer learns that Mando has removed his helmet in the presence of others, the armorer tells him that he is no longer a Mandalorian, that the only way for him to redeem himself is to go into the mines of Mandalore, which has since been destroyed by the Empire, making it seem like an impossibility for Mando to redeem himself. But it's quite clear from this shot that Mando isn't willing to give up. We then see a hot ladle enter a mysterious pool of liquid and it quickly catches fire. This is likely liquid Beskar, perhaps part of a bigger scene where the armorer makes more equipment.
Your cult fractured our people. Where were you then?
Next up, we see that Mando is being chased by what looks to be T-47 airspeeders used by the Rebel Alliance on Hoth. But upon a closer look, these ships look to be a heavily modified version of the ship, perhaps better suited for space travel. Then again, this could be completely new ships as well. We get a shot of the Gauntlet starfighters streaming through the air. The Gauntlet starfighters were a preferred mode of transport and space combat for Death Watch, especially during the Clone Wars era. So really, this shot is just to remind us that we will be getting more of the planet of Mandalore, and the faction Death Watch that Bo-Katan was previously a part of. And speaking of Bo-Katan, we get to see the former ruler of Mandalore watching through the window at the approaching ship, giving us plenty of questions as to who it might be. Next, we get an amazing shot of Mando walking in behind a number of new colorful Mandalorians. It's not entirely clear as to who these Mandalorians are, but it's very likely that these are also children of the Watch, given that they are not wearing the standardized armor that Bo-Katan's people normally wear. What's also super cool is that the design of some of the Mandalorians very much echo the helmet design of Bo-Katan and Sabine Wren, just reminding us of the diversity in Mandalorian designs. In the next shot, we get to see another group of Mandalorians. But these guys seem to be a little bit more color coordinated, perhaps suggesting that they are part of the same clan. In the back, we can even see a Mandalorian holding up a flag. Although we can't really see it from this angle, it likely depicts the sigil of this particular clan. Bo-Katan then calls the children of the Watch a cult, blaming them for splintering the Mandalorian people, which is super hypocritical since she was also once part of the cult known as Death Watch. We see Paz Vizsla take what looks to be a hammer from the armorer, perhaps suggesting that the armorer is willing to pass on the symbol of leadership to Paz. Paz Vizsla was of course the same Mandalorian that challenged Mando for the darksaber, so definitely expect some conflict over leadership there. We also get to see Greef Karga, who is now wearing an even grander looking outfit, suggesting that the man has so far been rather successful. We see that the two shake hands, and in the background, we can even see a statue of a droid stepping on a stormtrooper helmet. This is very likely the same statue commemorating the sacrifice of IG-11 in Season 1, the same statue that we previously got a glimpse of in Season 2. In the next shot, we see Mando zoom out of an explosion with none other than R5 co-piloting. R5 is of course the droid first seen in A New Hope, which was about to replace R2 before succumbing to a bad motivator, and we have seen him a few times throughout the different shows, hanging out with Mando, so looks like they have transferred ownership here. Slowing down the footage, we get a better look at the ship behind Mando, and it's pretty evident that this isn't an Imperial ship. Not entirely sure who this ship belongs to, but it does remind me of an old Republic frigate. I think there is a strong possibility that the frigate belongs to another clan of Mandalorians, and I will explain why later in the video. We go back to the Death Watch ship flying through the storm, and it suddenly arrives over the destroyed scene of the city of Sundari on Mandalore. Back in Season 2, we also saw the total destruction of the city during the Great Purge. And notice a really cool detail here with the wings of the ship rattling due to the air and speed. Just a really neat detail. Mando arrives in front of the throne of Mandalore, and on the left you will notice flags displaying a sigil. This might be Bo-Katan's own sigil, as some of the elements of it do match the smaller design on her helmet, but this is definitely not the sigil of her clan, as we will see in the next shot. We see a few Mandalorians drop out of a ship, and Bo-Katan gives us the biggest revelation ever.
Did you think your dad was the only Mandalorian?
And it is super hard to know who she is talking to, but there is a high chance that she is talking directly to Mando, which raises so many questions, as in Season 1, we were previously led to believe that Mando's parents were killed by the Separatists and not at all Mandalorians. So either Bo-Katan is referring to an adoptive father that Mando once had when he was inducted into the Watch, or that Mando's father was a Mandalorian who chose to walk away from the life of a Mandalorian for whatever reason. Either way, this is a massive revelation that promises to have massive consequences to all the characters and perhaps hint at a much bigger destiny for Mando.
Alright, kid. Hang on. You ready for an adventure?
Next, we see Mandalorians in Navarro, and they seem to be fighting the local inhabitants, which happens to be the guild. This group of Mandalorians are definitely part of Clan Vizsla, and you can just about make out their sigil here. In the next shot, we can also see Paz Vizsla fighting with his preferred use of weapon, which we saw in Season 1. So this is 100% Clan Vizsla coming to find Mando to reclaim the darksaber, which they believe to be a family heritage. Or they could be coming as allies to help Mando, which is hinted at later. We see a whole bunch of Kowakian monkeys, the very same pet that Jabba had. We also get to see Dr. Pershing, who is of course the lead scientist in the Imperial cloning project. We then see Greef Karga stand off against another group, likely a rival group of bounty hunters seeking to dethrone him. And if you notice carefully, this particular Nikto here might be the very same Nikto that gets absolutely decked by a Mandalorian in a previous shot. Which is why it leads me to think that the Mandalorians arriving on Navarro might also be here to help Mando. Mando gets the upper hand against the fighters that were chasing him and shoots one down, which crashes in what looks to be a mining facility on an asteroid. Mando returns, likely trying to sell Mando R5, and of course everyone's favorite character from The Rise of Skywalker returns, Babu Frick. Babu is of course the same guy who managed to bypass C-3PO's protocols to get him to translate the forbidden language of the Sith. In the next shot, we see Mando flying away with lots of fireworks behind him. This scene is very much reminiscent of the scene shown following the fall of the Empire, so this is very likely the people of Navarro celebrating their liberation against either Clan Vizsla or the rival gang. Finally, Mando asks if we are ready for an adventure, and hell yes we are. So that was the complete breakdown of the Mandalorian Season 3 trailer. There was definitely lots to see, and I'm super hyped for what is to come. Anyways, be sure to leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. As always, I am the Lost Acolyte,
and I have spoken.